And I just realized I have my mic plugged in and it was like 10 feet away from me. So hopefully you can hear me better now. So yes, my name is Wendy Lee Stephenson. I have been in network marketing for a little over 7 years. And now I have a coaching business as well. I kind of fell into coaching by accident, just by training in network marketing and then people asking for more information. So I was in the corporate world for 14 years. I prided myself in my career. I was kind of like a snob when it came to MLM, right? I was the worst. I don't know if you know this story, Sarah, but the lady that prospected me, she reached out to me and we were both recording an album. So doing music with the same producer. And she reached out to me and her kind of angle was, hey, I know you're recording with Ty. I'm recording too. And one of the ways I'm helping pay for my album is with this side income that I'm creating. And I was like, I literally replied back. I'm like, I'm so excited for your album, but I'm anti-MLM and I have a real job.
Wendy, no.
It was the meanest. I swear I'm not that mean person anymore. I had such a bad taste in my mouth about the MLM industry, just from whatever, I don't even know, but for some reason I was so offended that she thought I needed extra money with her side hustle, right? Like that I couldn't pay for my album. I was such a brat. Okay. So, I've really developed personally in the network marketing space. So the crazy thing is, you guys, so I want to tell you that story because it's so important. When you're prospecting, you never know who's on the other end of your prospecting. You never know what they're going through. Okay. So I had a pride issue and I was offended by her. But a week later, I was at a conference, and anybody Shark Tank fans in the group? I love Shark Tank, right? So Damon John from Shark Tank was in Nashville. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. Was in Nashville doing a seminar on wealth building. And so I got there and I was like, I'm climbing the corporate ladder, right? I'm going to build some wealth. I'm going to be the CEO of a company one day. And I get there and he says, you will never, this statement just hit me in the face, you will never build wealth with a salary job. And I was like, ooh, okay. And so I listened through what he talked about, and it was about creating multiple streams of income and creating residual income. And so I humbly went back to that girl and said, hey, so I know I totally shot you down, but can you tell me a little bit more about that thing you're doing? And I wound up joining her the day we met. So the next morning we met, I guess next afternoon we met for lunch, and I signed up that night. And 5 months later, I was a level 5 on her team, the first level 5 on her team. So she said to me, she's like, Wendy, when you replied to me, I swore I would never reach out to anyone again. Like I was done with this, and she had just started her business like a month before. She was like, it was humiliating. I felt like such an idiot. It's like, I'm so sorry. I was just rude. And anyway, so I joined network marketing in October, and this was Rodan and Field, so I know all about your business. I joined in October of 2013. And what did she say to you? Hold on, I'm trying to read the chat. The first time you met. So it wasn't the first time. So all she said is she had a way to make additional income. And I think she said build residual income, because that term residual income, I didn't really know what she meant. But when I heard Damon John's group say that, then it was like, oh, that's why I went back to her. So anyway, so when we sat down to chat, she just told me a couple testimonials, and that it was the doctors that created Proactive. And I was like, cool, let's do it. Right. She did tell me about a testimonial of somebody that I think it was Wendy Green. Oh, in her 6 months, she was making $8,000 a month. And I was like, say what? Like, I was thinking you could make a couple hundred a month. I could make that much, right? And I actually, fun fact, I auditioned for, I don't know if you guys know Wendy Green, but she was a Christian singer, and I auditioned for her group, her singing group, when I was 18 years old. I sat in her living room and sang for her, and she looked at me and she said, honey, you're amazing, but you're 18 and you're married, and if you go on tour, your marriage will be over. My marriage ended anyway, but she could have saved me a few years. But anyway, but it was funny, that full circle moment coming back and hearing Wendy Green's name. But anyway, so I did not do anything my first month. And then my second month, I just started reaching out to friends and saying, hey, do you want to learn how to make money online? And by the end of the month, I had 2 new consultants on my team. And then in January, so that was December, and then January, I kept doing the same thing, and I got 5 new consultants on my team. And then, you guys, I had no clue what I was doing, but they had a summit in Nashville in January. And I went to that summit and I learned a little bit about what I could do. And then I got connected with a leader in our area. I don't know if you guys know Tracy Bonds. And she was hosting a Monday night event every week. And you guys, I just made a commitment. I said, I'm going to start bringing people every Monday. And I would bring at least 1 person every week, and sometimes up to 9 people. And I just was dedicated. And so then in February, my son, I traveled for my job 4 days a week, and I was gone every other weekend at conferences. And I came home from a trip, and my son, who was 3 at the time, grabbed my face when I came home and looked at me and had these huge tears in his eyes. And he said, Mommy, don't ever leave. And I knew I had to turn around the next morning and leave for the weekend. And you guys, it was that moment that I was like, I'm making this my full-time gig. And so I put a plan in place. I'm going to just grow as fast as I can. And then 3 weeks later, my boss called me and said, meet me in the morning with your phone and your computer. And yeah, I lost my job. We got bought out by a big company and our division went away. And I literally just got a severance package and said sayonara. So I'm not going to say it was easy. It was hard. I was the primary income. In fact, I think I might have been the only income. I can't remember what my husband was doing at the time, but I was the only income. And he was taking care of the kids because I traveled all the time. And so it was scary. And there were moments that I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But sometimes we perform our best when our back's against the wall, and sometimes we have to create pain to move us forward, because we are driven by 2 things, pain or pleasure, right? And we like to be driven by pleasure, right? Motivation, right? I'm going to do this. Oh, I want to hit this rank. I want to make this money. I want to do these things. And we then scroll the social media and we're like, let me make a pretty post. Let me do a selfie, right? And we spend all of our time doing these things that aren't making money until our back's against the wall and something happens, a pain comes. So I wasn't going to get into this tonight, but I feel like somebody needs to hear this. So I'm just going to share. So I want you to think about a marathon runner. Okay. Running, or not even a marathon runner. Think about a track runner, right? Their speed, they're going for the speed. They want to finish the finish line, get to the finish line first, right? Somebody that's been training to do that. And let's say they hit their record time. You take that same runner hitting record time to try and finish for pleasure, right? The joy of winning. And you put a cougar behind them, they're going to run faster. Guarantee you, right? They're going to run faster because we are going to run from pain harder than we run towards pleasure. And so sometimes if we're feeling stuck in our business, right, and we're not moving forward, sometimes we got to assign a pain to something. So to fast forward a little bit in my story, I hit Premier Level 5, got my car, was making 6 figures, and then we decided to adopt some kids. I had 3 at the time. We decided we were adopting 2 kids that were brothers, and one of them I had sponsored through a sponsorship program since he was 6, and he was 10 years old when we decided to adopt. And then we went to Africa, met our 2 boys, and then fell in love with a little girl when we were there named Esther. And that same week that I was in Africa, I found out I was pregnant with my 4th child. So all of a sudden, we went from we're going to adopt 2. We have 3, we're adopting 2, to now there's 2 more girls. Now there's 2 girls coming, which we didn't know the baby was a girl, but now there's 2 more coming, right? And so adopting 3 kids internationally is not cheap. And so we had a big goal, right? It was $80,000 to bring our kids home. And so I got to this point where I was like so comfortable in my business because I was making 5 figures a month without really trying. But I knew I needed to increase that. But it's hard when you're kind of comfortable, right? So I took a picture of my kids, me, my husband, and my 3 kids in Africa, and I put it by my desk. And every time I started to make excuses for not doing my reach outs, I looked at that picture and I said, if I'm not going to do my reach outs, I have to tell them they're not worth it. And I'm not going to do that, right? So sometimes we need to assign a pain to get us to move forward. Okay, but that's not what I was going to talk about tonight. Anyway, long story short, I've continued in network marketing. I absolutely love the industry. And now I spend most of my time as a trainer and a coach in the industry and help other women grow and scale their businesses to 6 figures, and then also monetize their genius to create additional streams of income. Because I will be the first to tell you, yes, crush it in network marketing, but don't make that your sole thing. Figure out ways to like monetize in other ways. And there's plenty of ways to do that, because every single one of you has some kind of genius, right? Something you're good at and better at than most people, and you can monetize it. And once you learn how to build a business online, you can build any business online. Okay. So 3 things I want to talk to you guys tonight about. I call the 3 I's of building your business online. Okay. And I know this might be review for you, Sarah, but I'm going to go a little more in depth than I've done on my live videos. So the first I is identify. Okay. There's a few things I want you to really dig in and identify. Number 1 is who you're talking to. When you create content, when you are reaching out, when you're thinking about who you want on your team, who you want to sell to, whatever, who is that person? I don't want you to think of a group of people. I want you to zero in on one ideal client. Who is the one type of person that you want to work with? I want you to name them, okay? Mine's Christy. That's her name. Are any Christys on the call? Right? So I have Christy, and I know how old Christy is, and I know how many kids she has, and I know how many pets she has. She hates cats. Sorry. I know that she is college educated, and worked a corporate job, but left to be home with her kids, and now feels a little bit lost and doesn't want the mom guilt of not wanting to be home with her kids all the time, but wants something that's hers and that she can be proud of and feel accomplished in, right? I know my ideal client. I know where she shops. I know what she cares about. I know that she's a Christian and she loves pretty Bibles, right? Like I know my ideal client. I know who she voted for. Like, I'm not kidding. Get that specific in who you want to reach out to. I'm not saying who they vote for, but like, you know them. Like you could make them a human being. You can make them a person and say, this is my person, right? I know what values she holds. So I want you to identify your ideal client. And here's why. If you know that person, then you know where to find them and how to talk to them, right? So we'll get into that more. So identify your ideal client, identify their pain points. What keeps them up at night? What are they missing in life? What makes them feel happy? What makes them feel sad, right? And then the next thing I want you to identify is how you can solve their problem. What solution do you have to solve that problem? Okay. So the next I, and I'll open it up at the end for questions. I'm going to give you kind of a high level view and then we'll dig in, okay? The next I is influence. So now you know your ideal client. You know what keeps them up at night. You know what solutions you have. So now your job is to influence them. Okay? Your social profiles, your marketing, what you post on Facebook, on Instagram, on wherever, there's 18 million apps now that you can use. You want them. So if you find your ideal client, you friend request them, they come to your profile, they immediately feel connected to you and they accept your friend request, right? Even if they don't know you, or they follow you back on Instagram. You want them to feel connected to what you're putting out there. Okay. So for that, you need to know who you are, what you care about, and how you can help solve their problems. And so a lot of times in network marketing, right, especially I did this in the beginning of my network marketing career. I only talked about the credibility of the doctors on what if Proactive would let you be a part of their business. Wouldn't you do it, right? All that, I don't know if you guys do that now, but in the beginning, that's what we did, right? And it was, here's the before and after photos, and and everything was so in your face all the time about here's the doctors, here's the business, here's the products, here's results. And you guys, if that's the way you market, you get lost in the crowd. Plenty of people doing that, right? So I want you to spend some time and sit in this. What makes you unique? How can you put your uniqueness on display? What do you care about? What fires you up, right? And when people come to your profile, they need to see two things. They need to see, one, that you're speaking to who they are, right? Your ideal client. And two, that they can feel quickly who you are. All right. And then the last I is interact.
Can I use one of the suitcases to get packed already?
If you can find one. Okay. So yeah, the last I, sorry, I lost track. Interact. Okay. So now the last I is interact. So you're finding your ideal client, you're speaking to their soul, you're influencing them, and now you want to interact. So you do that through direct message, instant message, whatever, right? Through Messenger. So you're having conversations with people. And it doesn't need to be a, hey girl, I saw you looking at my stuff. You open to looking at my opportunity, right? It doesn't need to be that. It's, hey, I went and checked out your page. First of all, thank you for connecting with me. So excited to get to know new people. Hey, I went and looked at your profile and I see blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I see that you're in Alaska. You were in Alaska and you just moved to Florida. What in the world made you do that? That's quite a change, right? Start a conversation. Your job when you interact is to, one, always hold the posture position, right? You want to be in control of the conversation always. So you're the one always asking questions. That's how you maintain control of a conversation. You ask questions, okay? So when somebody comes, it's so funny because I have people all the time, like some of my coaching clients, they're like, I was totally trying to prospect this girl and she prospected me instead. She turned it around on me. Right? Have you guys ever had that happen? You're like, I'm so going to reach out to this girl. And then they're like, hey, you want to look at my stuff? But you want to maintain control of the conversation by asking great questions. Okay. Asking amazing questions, getting to know them. Think about going to like a party or shoot, a lot of us might be moms here. Like if you have kids that play sports and you sit, for me, I'm a baseball mom. So I go sit in the stands and it's like, got to get to know the other moms, right? Would I be like, hey, Sarah, so which kid's yours? Great. You should totally look at my opportunity. Are you looking to make extra money? Right? That would be so awkward. But what you could do is say, hey, Sarah, nice to meet you. Which kid out there is yours? Oh, cool. How long's he been playing ball? Love it. So what do you do? Are you home full time with your kiddos or do you work? Oh, what got you into that profession? You must love it, right? Right? And then Sarah's like, well, I do, but I hate missing the games. I can never get to the games on time, right? I see Sarah came to the ball field with her heels on and her dress, right? I know she's coming from work. And yeah, I used to live that life. I totally understand how you feel. oh, what do you do now? Right? So same thing in Messenger. You want to ask really good questions. And I would write down list of questions, guys. When you know your ideal client, it's a lot easier to figure out what questions to ask. Okay. I have a coaching client that is a nurse, and she wants, like, her ideal client is someone in nursing that wants to go to PRN, that wants to leave working, 410s or whatever they do, whatever they call it, right? 410s, and go to PRN. So we have her speak to those pain points on her social media, right? She's speaking to those pain points. She's talking about how she loves her career and she loves what she does. But hey, sometimes it's really hard, especially if you want to start a family or this or that, right? What are those pain points? She calls attention to those. And she also speaks life into fellow, healthcare workers, right? And even, hey, where I found my latest scrubs that I love, right? She's adding value to her ideal client, but then also trickling in that, hey, you can back off on your hours. There are ways to do that, right? And so when she gets into a messenger and it's her ideal client, she gets to say, hey, how long have you been in nursing, right? So are you working full time, or are you working 4 times? What's your work schedule? Blah, blah, blah. And then, do you love that? Or are you, I don't know how she asks it because I'm not a nurse, but right. She creates these questions like, oh, do you love that? Or, or you have kids, is that schedule hard, having kids? And if she says, yeah, but you got to do what you got to do, right? Yeah, I totally get it. But I actually was able to supplement my income working from my phone, and I was able to cut back. It took me like 3 months, and I was able to cut back to PRN. And however, whatever.
I can't hear you.
We'll just unplug the mic.
Oh, I can hear you great.
Okay. That, I don't know what happened. That just fell. So asking great questions. So you guys, if you can put this together, right? You identify your ideal client. Also, you got to figure out where they're hanging out, which we'll touch on that in a second, and then I'll open it up for questions. But you want to identify your ideal client. You want to influence them with your marketing, speaking to their pain points, and then you want to interact with them in Messenger, make them feel like they're a friend, and figure out how to uncover pain points very quickly in your message, right? So that you can offer a solution. And sometimes you guys, because my ideal client's pretty awesome, sometimes I go to their social media and I'll come back in Messenger and I'll be like, hey, I know we just connected, but I love the way you show up online. You're probably even more fun in person, right? Like, there was one girl I prospected the other day. I'm like, you're probably even more fun in person. Like, you are amazing. I love your energy. What do you do? Tell me about you, right? And she opened up and she told me about her. And I was like, listen, I look for people like you. Like, I don't normally jump right out there, but hey, I look for people like you with your energy to do business with. Do you keep your income options open? If not, no big deal. I'm happy to be connected with you, but I have to ask because I just love your energy. Right? Super simple. So, interacting, and then you want to interact not just in Messenger, but you want to go love on their wall. Quickest way. So if you send a friend, so I'm going to tell you I'm giving you guys all my secrets. All right. Real quick process. I friend request like crazy on Facebook every day. All right. And then the next morning I go look at my recently added friends and I start a conversation with them. So whoever is on the list that I haven't talked to yet, I go start a conversation. I'm like, hey, thanks for connecting. I don't know if they requested me or I requested them because all that happened so fast. So I just say, hey, thanks for connecting. Excited to get to know you. And I go look at their profile and I start a conversation, right? And guess what? The people that don't respond to me, I go and I love on their cover photo. I love on their profile pic. I love and comment on a post. And then I send them another message specifically about them. Like, oh my gosh, I saw your post about blah, 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 blah. And then if they don't respond to me, guess what I do? Unfriend. I unfriend. Bye-bye. Because I'm about sorting and getting through people. The quicker you can sort, the quicker you can find your right people, right? I'm the same way. If somebody responds to me and they're like, yes, no, not long, I'm like, okay, goodbye.
You said that the other day, and I was like, common sense there. Sorting is really important because our social media can get so loud and crowded, and we're there for a reason.
Mhm.
Good advice.
Absolutely. If you're using your social media to build a business and not make friends, right? You got to sort quick. Yes.
I have a question. So if I've reached out to people and I've done multiple reach outs, whether it's like liked on their Facebook and I've reached out to them about the products, am I unfriending them?
Are they your friend in real life?
No.
Okay. Do they ever respond to you?
No.
Do they interact with your content?
No.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're just looking at that person going, man, they always ghost me. Right? It brings you down. It doesn't do anything to help you. Right?
I've done a lot of that in the last year. The only time I don't is if I truly like who they show up as online, and I think I don't want to stop. I'm hanging around for this one.
Yeah. Like
I
if you're like, that's my, you know, like when you're a teenager and you see your dream guy for the first time and you're like, I don't care what it takes. I will have him. If you feel that way about the person and they're ghosting you, keep them around. But if you don't feel that, sayonara. Because there's plenty of people. We have such a lack mindset typically, right? That's our natural go-to, is to think, oh, everybody does this, or I'm sure they've already heard about this, or they don't want to hear from me, or right. We're like lack mindset. There's not enough people. There's 35 million people in the United States, and you guys have Australia and Canada too, I think, right? And Japan.
And
Right? Yeah, there's plenty of people. You're not going to run out of people. You get good, you grow.
you can get really busy following up with the wrong people, and you know they're the wrong people, but you do it anyway because it makes you feel better about the job you did that day.
Absolutely. You are so right. All right, what questions do you guys have? Did I just give you way too much information and you're like, eh?
I think one of the things that I've enjoyed lately was getting into people's inbox, because you always talk about that, getting into people's inbox via stories. And I think that that's a great way for, I think one of the apprehensions sometimes is when you have a new friend or you meet somebody new and then you just like go right into it. But there's this creepy phase between relationship building, and they know that I'm in their inbox because I sell something. So being real there. How do you find that balance there?
I am building a business and I don't shy away from that, right? But I also add a ton of value on my social media. So if your whole social media is all just about you and your life, and it's like your diary online, and then you sell stuff in between your diary, then yeah, they're gonna feel like, meh. That's the whole point of identifying your ideal client and creating content that's going to speak to their soul. Because even if they know you want to sell them, if you're adding value to them, they're okay with that, right? I do use stories. I love using stories, especially on Instagram, to get into people's inbox, because on Facebook it doesn't do the same way. But if you react to a story on Instagram, it shows up in their inbox, right? In their direct messages. So now it's important to, I think, also kind of type something else in there. So typically if I react to a story, I'll then go back and look at their feed, look at their grid, and just comment something. And Instagram is people are a lot more open to getting into a conversation quickly than people are on Facebook. But again, I don't have any problem with that anymore, because you can go to my profile and scroll 5 and you know who I am. Like, you know what I'm about. And so people can do that before they accept my friend request. So if you've accepted my friend request, to me, that's an open door. And I don't shy away from that. Like I said, having that mindset of I'm building a business, right? I'm also here to make an impact on your life, if that, in any way I can. But I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I'm building a business. Mm-hmm.
Pride in what we do is so important. You can't have any other feelings about it, because if you do, then you're done.
So I want to ask, what are you guys struggling with in business? Or is everyone RFX? Go ahead. Yeah, you could just talk.
I joined Rodan & Fields in July. So I have two new consultants under me. I think it's teaching them the business and being accountable, but they've also, one of them has said, like, I'll give it my best. One of them is like showing up. So I'm still teaching them, I'm still learning. But the thing is like growing my business. So we were shared just different things to do. And the thing is like posting and lives and events and things like that. And so it's like, I feel like reaching that PSQV and that just that 600, I just feel like I can't advance, and I don't know what I'm missing and what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I think that that's where I'm at. Like I reach out, and my first approach when I first started was like, hey, how are you? Did you hear about my business? And then I was like, wait, that's not the right approach, as you learn. And then it was like,
well, you should see my first messages. They were like books of why you need to join my business. First message.
Right.
Sarah Robbins used to coach us to word for word send these huge wins.
Right.
So
yeah,
you're doing fine.
So that's what I was doing. And then I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm just blasting people with my business. And so then I kind of turned it around, and like you said, it was like connecting with people, like posting on people's wall and kind of like getting to know people. And it opened up that ability for me to actually connect with people. And I've noticed that my confidence of even connecting with people in person in general that's grown. But my thing is like when growing my business, I think that I'm like, okay, what am I lacking? What is it that I need to do to really make that huge production and make it really grow?
Right. So, so I feel like you had 2 questions. The first one started out on maybe how to lead your team. Or
I have 2 people on my team right now.
Okay. So I will give you guys this tip. Anytime someone joins your team, I kind of even do this before they join me, is what do you want in life? Like, what are your dreams? What do you want to accomplish? Sometimes people's dreams are small, sometimes they're big. It doesn't matter. You don't coach them on their dream. You just ask what it is, and you recognize it, and let them know they can achieve it, right? So whether that's, I want to make a car payment, awesome, let's make that happen. Are you committed to make that happen? Like, because I know you can do that here, right? How much is your car payment? Great. How fast do you want to do that, right? Linking arms with their goals. One of the biggest, hardest lessons I learned in growing my business with RNF was, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So I only heard from my leader on the last day of the month for me to hit a goal. And I hated it. And I allowed that same person to push me to reach out to people on my team that I knew didn't care to hit level 5. Oh, but they're so close. You need to, right? And a couple times I let them push me to do that. And then I was like, this feels yucky. I don't like it. And I have vowed, like in my business now, I don't ever, ever tell my team. And I'm not saying anyone that's done this, just me personally, I never say we're running for this or I'm like, what are your goals? I want to help you hit your goals. Because if my team's hitting their goals, I'm going to hit mine. Right? Because I know how to do my own. I know how to do my own volume. So when your new people come in is finding that out, right? And reminding them of that. So when they say they want it and then they're not doing anything, go, hey, I just wanted to check in. I know when you started, you said you wanted to make that car payment. How close are you to that? Right? Okay. So we have some work to do. I want to help you get there. Have you figured out a different way to do it outside of this business, or you still want to make this work? Right? Because a lot of times people will give up on the vision without another option, right? There's no other option. So you want to remind them that this is your way to accomplish that goal.
So but how do they get that goal? Like, is it Facebook post? Is it reaching out? Is it all the above?
Those three things I just talked about.
Okay.
I mean, that's it, right? You want to, and I do have another, I teach that you want to attract people to you, right? So that's that influence.
Okay.
Attract people to you, intrigue them, all right? Creating curiosity around what it is you do and what it is you sell, okay? So create curiosity, intrigue. Expose people to your products or your opportunity. So attract, intrigue, expose. Affirm. So everyone, when they're buying from you or looking to join you, they want to know three things. Is this legit? Can I do it? Will you help me? Or will these products work? Are you going to show me how to use them? Right? They need that affirmation. Okay. And then finally, you need to close. 5 objections in network marketing for the business side, right? I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough influence. It's a pyramid scheme, or I've tried that before. What am I missing, Sarah? Time, money. I'm not a good salesperson.
Yep. Or I don't want to sell something.
Or I don't want to. Right. Those are your objections. Learn how to handle those.
Right.
You can, right? So the way to build wealth in network marketing is build a team. The way to make 3 to 4, three figures, so a couple $100 to $1,000 is product. Product's a lot harder. I don't sell much product. I hate selling product. You need people to sell product. I love my people that sell product, but I don't do it. So because I want to build wealth and I don't want to work that hard.
So do you remember back a few years ago, it was all massive action, level 5 and set, like all of that. Where would you say that the balance is? So like taking Lee, for example, I know what she wants. One of the questions I asked her was, what do you want? I know what she wants. What about the time frame to get there? I think what she's asking is, how do I get there faster?
Mm-hmm. So here's what I'll tell you. I know Rodan and Field's numbers.
Yeah.
So on average, you're going to sell. So let's say, someone tell me how much money you want to make. What is your name, Lee?
Yeah.
Lee, how much money do you want to make a month?
My goal was at least $1,000 so I could supplement, so I could only work for 4 days at the hospital.
Okay. So $1,000 a month. I'm going to make you make $5,000 a month. Okay. So $5,000 a month, right, is, hold on. I got to think about my math. Hold on. I do spreadsheets way better than I do a calculator. Okay. So you need 100,000 in team volume to make 5,000 a month. Okay. On average, then if you take all the people on your team, let's say you have 100 people on your team, I don't care if they do nothing or they do everything. On average, you're going to be between 350 and 450 in volume per person. Okay. So you need 285 people on your team to make 5,000 a month. Okay. That's not counting your PSQV and your 30% on that or whatever it is. Okay. So 285 people on your team. So, actually, I still have all my stats from RF. So hold on one second. I'm going to pull it up. I'll tell you how long it took me to get there and how many I recruited personally to get there.
Lee, I think something that's also good advice for you and other than myself and everybody that is looking at that scaling, at that I'm here, but I want to get here, is it really is more directs. So there's only so much that you can do and actually very little that you're responsible for the people that come in directly to you. You have to find more people.
Yes.
You can never sit and fix and wait and all of that. Most of that's in place for you and you're doing a good job at that. You have to find more people.
Yes. I at my highest, when we were doing about 300,000 in volume, I had 18 EC legs. 1 in 3 people that you recruit will hit EC on average. Okay. So if you want to hit level 5, is it still 8 EC legs?
Yeah.
So you need to have 24 people that you recruit. Okay. You can recruit 24 people in 3 months if you want to.
How?
I'm trying. How?
Just what you told us tonight. Just keep reaching out about the business.
Yeah. So you've got to expose people to the business. So
Okay.
I don't know what systems you guys have for that. We have a Facebook group. We just add people to the Facebook group, tag them in a video about the opportunity and follow up. If I'm doing like a blitz, like I'm going hardcore recruiting, I do Zoom calls. But it's about a lot of closing is posture, right? Hey, here's what I'm doing. I'm running. I'm excited, looking for people that are fired up and ready to make a change in their life. Is that you? Right? So it's honestly mindset, right? So these things I taught tonight are going to help you build credibility and build an audience. The more eyes you have on you, the better, right? And then as you get more eyes on you and you are strong in your posture, you can recruit like crazy. I mean, my first year in my new business, I recruited 62 people in 12 months.
I think something that myself and I know a lot of other leaders are coaching right now are events. It's still events. It's just like Gabe used to say, and probably still does, but I have no idea. You've got to show the business plan to enough people. Therefore, to use your time more effectively, you have to get the most people in one place at a time so you can. Where when we're at this time of year and I'm homeschooling and like it's crazy, I have to get one event where I can corral everybody in so that I can present the business and the products to them right there. And I really think that that's what that's what everybody needs to be doing. Zoom events are great. Wendy, you can give me your opinion. I think your opinion is that Facebook events are dead. I'm pretty sure I've heard you say that before.
I will never do a Facebook event.
I hate them. I always have.
No, Facebook groups. I mean, my 3 ways that I would do it. You've got to have a third party tool. You've got to have a tool. I don't know if you guys have a good, the doctor's video, whatever, but you've got to have a tool to point people to expose them initially. Here's my process. My everyday, right? If people say they're open to looking at the opportunity, awesome. I'm going to send you a quick video and I'm going to add you to a Facebook group so you can see some testimonials. And I also want you to hear from some of my business partners that are absolutely crushing it. So I send them a video. I add them to a Facebook group. I tag them where the comp plan and all that stuff is. They're not going to watch it all unless they're really serious, but tag them in that. And then I immediately drop them in a group chat with my leaders. And I say, hey, want to introduce you to Bryn and John. They're absolutely crushing it in this business. They can answer any question you have. We are looking for people ready to make a change in their life. And whether that means making a car payment or making a house payment or replacing your income or being a millionaire, we're here to help you do it. I want you to hear their stories, right? And so then they share their stories and we're like, hey, tell us about you. What has you open to looking at this? Okay, so I had 265 people on my team. Look at this. And my paycheck was $5,168 when I had 265 people on my team. And I personally had enrolled at that time 43 people. 10 of them were EC legs. My team enrolled 16 that month. So, but just to kind of show you how this can grow fast, because 65 or whatever sounds like a lot of people. Okay, that was my second year in business. My team went from one person in my team to 3 people, to 6 people, to 12 people, to 22 people, to 41, to 54. In May, so my 7th month in business, I had 54 people on my team. By September, I had over 100. Okay, so you guys see how it can multiply. As you start bringing in people and you teach them the system of how to bring people in, it can multiply fast. It sounds really far away sometimes, but it can. And it's up to you. Here's the beauty of network marketing. You grow as fast as you want. And let me tell you that the quickest way to accelerate is to have someone coach you. Sorry, got to plug that in. The biggest way that I grew my business is having the right people coaching me. In 2020, I invested $34,000 in coaching. But I 6 times my investment. Growth. Okay, not that was growth. I grew 6 times that investment. Okay, so having people that know how to do it, that was my biggest problem when I first started, is my sponsor hadn't done it before, and her sponsor had done it for a really long time, but just didn't really have a system, right? So I was clueless. And so it's when I got linked arms with Tracy Bonds, who was crushing it and did it in the way that worked back then. I don't think that way works now, but in the way that worked back then. And I copycatted, right? I did what she did and I grew. But you can take the hard way, right? And, dibble dabble, right? Play with it like a hobby. And in 4 years, be in the same spot you are now, right? It feels good to win. I'm just saying. It feels good to grow. It feels good to get to go to the husband and go, look at how much money I just made, right? And it's not all about money, but it's about what you can do with it. How many of your moms here? I have a kid in college right now. They get more expensive the older they get, P.S. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm like, man, diapers and wipes were not that expensive compared to college and cars and insurance.
Son went through 3 cars last year.
Oh my God. And tickets. Yeah, I'm like. And so it's like, I'm telling you, and I want to tell you this too. I want you to set a goal. I want you guys to set a goal of what is going to make you feel free. What level of income is going to make you feel like you can give like you want, like you can live like you want. Oh, I just came up with that. Give like you want, live like you want.
That's really good. Tracy, that's a great question.
I have to quote myself. Hold on. By the way, if you guys get value from this and want to take a screenshot, say hey and tag me on social, I would love that. Share your key takeaway. I'm at Wendy Lee Online on Instagram.
Natasha, will you take the picture for us tonight? You are so dang good at it. I would never try to do it. So good at it. Tracy asked a great question in the chat.
Oh, I didn't see it. I don't know if I totally finished my. Okay, for those of us working a full-time job, great question. I'm so excited you asked this. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little story. I sold my Rodan and Fields business. And you guys, it was just like what God wanted me to do. It was like, it just, sometimes God calls you other places. And for me, I was in that spot and God worked it out so perfectly. But I sold my business and I thought, I can pay off some debt that I had, some leftover debt, right? I'm going to go buy some things. I got this big chunk of money. I was loving it, right? And I'm like, and I'm going to crush it in my new business. And it took a little longer than I thought to grow my new business. So I thought I'd be making like 15,000 in 3 months. So I found myself, and I have a lot of kids, right? So I found myself in November of 2019 going, holy crap, I'm running out of money. And I got a temp job. Man, it was humbling. Because y'all, I went from residual 5 figures a month to getting a temp job. But I got a temp job, and I worked 40 hours a week for 6 weeks. And you remember this, right? Because I was like, I have to change my life. Like, I have to grow this business. And I think that I kind of got cocky a little bit. Like, I was like, oh, people will just join me, right? I don't have to do all the hard work this time around. And I was very hurt. Like I had some, you know, I left my 2 childhood best friends on my team, and they were just, you know, you become like family, and, you know, it was like a breakup. It was hard. It was like divorce, and there was some hard things, and I just was not in a good place. And so anyway, I'm telling you all this to tell you that I worked full time for 6 weeks, and I was more productive in that 6 weeks than I was any point until that point. Okay. Here's what I did. I woke up early and I left the house, and I don't know what your situation is, like if you can leave kids or whatever, but figure out how you can make it work, right? How you can dedicate a couple hours, whether it's an hour before work, an hour after, during a lunch break, whatever, that you can dedicate to your business. And here's how I crushed it. I got up, I was out of the house and at Panera Bread by 6 a.m. My job started at 8. So I was at Panera by 6 a.m. and I did my morning routine at Panera. I did my gratitudes, my growth, my goals, read my scrolls, and then I prospected. Okay. And then at 7:30, I drove to my office and I sat in my car and I did a live video every single morning. Every morning, Monday through Friday at the same time. And then I walked in and I worked my job. And then on my lunch break, I prospected some more. And I went from literally having $200 in my bank account in December to making $12,000 in January. And the busier you are, the better you can be, honestly. It's when we're sitting at home and we're like, oh, I have all day to get this done, right? That we put it off and we procrastinate and we lollygag and we don't feel good about ourselves because we're still in our pajamas, right? And our energy's low. And when we prospect, nobody responds because we're kind of blah, right? When your back is up against a wall, or when you have to make it work, you make it work. But you got to want it. I want you guys to really, I'm just like going on and on. I hope you're okay with this, Sarah. I want you to picture what your life can look like if you make $50,000 a month. And some of you might be like, what? That's ridiculous. You don't need $50,000 a month. And I would say to you, that's selfish. It is selfish to not want $50,000 a month. Why? Because you don't know who could use your help. What kind of, you know what? If I had somebody helping me fund adoptions, I didn't really need it because I worked for it. But when I was going through adoption stuff, right? There were people that were going through the same thing that were in tears because they couldn't pay for adoptions, because they were struggling, because they were going in debt, because they were taking loans on their house. What if you could be the person to say, let me fund your adoption? It is not a big deal for me to write a $30,000 check. It's selfish to have small goals. I don't know who's a believer in here, but God created you with gifts and talents so you can bless the world. Not so you can sit by yourself and make yourself feel good, right? Like, so you can be a light to other people. And money does make the world go around. And there's not enough wealthy Christians, in my opinion. I had a really messed up money mindset for a long time. I thought to be a Christian, I had to be poor and humble. And I realized that I disguised my humility under, it was really insecurity. I called it humility because that felt better. I'm just humble. I don't want to be prideful. No, you don't want to show up. Right? So sometimes people might think now that I'm very confident. And you know what? I am, because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And if I don't show up, other people lose.
Some of the best advice I got last year was every time I did not achieve, I was holding my entire team back.
Mm-hmm.
That for me not to hit the goals that were in front of me, when I was saying, why me, why this, kind of the same type of thing. Every time I didn't do that, that meant that my entire team didn't advance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy crap, that's terrible. I'm a terrible person.
And, think about your family. Think about, I think about so I'm going to wrap it up with this story. And if you guys have questions, drop it in chat and I'll answer. And also, if you're not in Credo Collective, you can go to credocollective.com. That'll take you straight to my Facebook group, but I do free training in there all the time. And if you want a coach, then let me know and we can talk about that. I am closing my mastermind. I have a mastermind that's all network marketers, and we scale to 6 figures. That's our goal. And the mastermind for 6 months, we work together, and I'm closing that February 1st. Credo, CREDO.
I did drop the link on our team page, and I will drop the link on our team page again. Okay.
So I got to figure out what I was just going to say. What was I going to say?
Mastermind, 6 figures.
No, but before that, I was going to tell you one more story before I took questions. What were we talking about? Impact and being a light and
not being afraid to make money, not holding other people back.
Yeah, I lost it. I'm sorry. I was going to send y'all off with one really good story and I can't remember what the heck it was. It might come to me. All right. You guys have anything you want to share or questions? Yeah, my coach says, who loses if you don't win?
Yeah. That's a whole mindset change for people that haven't built a team. Who's waiting on you?
Yeah. Right. Instead of thinking about the person that's going to be like, oh, she just reached out to me because she wants to recruit me. Think about the mom who's laying up sick to her stomach at night going, Lord, please send an answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody told me about Rodian and Fields.
Searching for it.
I wish they would. I wish they did. I asked multiple times on Facebook in the year and a half before I found it. Nobody told me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's plenty of people. Okay.
You guys, I'm going to take a picture of the whole screen. I know Natasha took some on small screens, but I'm going to take one of the whole screen and I'll count for you. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Nikki, I like you, by the way. You've been so fun. I love how engaged you are. Yeah. Just, your face is all the reactions. I'm okay, I know if I'm doing good or not by watching Nikki.
Yeah. You can just read my whole face from the whole, I don't need subtitles or anything.
I love it. I love it. My friend, Paola, she did Tony Robbins, is doing all online stuff now. Right. And he sent, I don't have anything here I could use, but he sent these cards out that have the stick and you would do yes or no or yay or blah or whatever. And so we were on our mastermind call, the mastermind I'm in with my coach, and she would, pop up these signs. And I was like, man, this is way more fun. We all need those. I should start sending those out.
That's a really good idea.
It is. Because it can get sometimes on Zooms, you're like, hello, are you awake? Is anybody there?
But it's way better than Facebook Live, for goodness sake.
Oh, yes. You're I did a live the other day, and normally I have people interacting with me and I've gotten comfortable with that. And the other day I was talking, and there were 0 comments. And I'm like, are you guys out there? Do I just not see the comments? I'm this is so hard to do. Who's on Clubhouse? Anybody?
I can't figure it out yet, but I have your training saved to watch on it.
Okay. So I am on Clubhouse and it was so odd for me. I'm so used to Facebook Lives now that I'm like, wait, what I'm talking, I'm like, you can't tell you to smash, can't tell you to comment below. I'm like, this is so weird. I just have to have a one-sided conversation.
I will tell you guys, I'm really encourage you. I'll put her group page again on the team page. I have found so much value from little things like content, and occasionally she'll do like an engagement challenge, and that's really fun too. Little tips and tricks like that to really the deep books that she's reading and sharing. And one of the things that I've picked up so much is how valuable it is for you learning on the spot. I've tried really hard to do stuff like that too, because sometimes we think that while we're reading a book or while we're doing something, you know, it's really great to us, but it won't come off the same. But it's really good. It does come off that way, because sometimes that's all you have to do, because people don't know what to read. They don't know what to listen to. They don't know any of that. So I really encourage you guys to jump in her group and check out everything that she has.
All right. I'm excited for you guys.
Wendy, thank you so much.
Dream big, go crush it.
Oh, good, Tracy.
See?
All right, guys. Good night.
Hey, I have one quick question,
Yeah.
Wendy. Put it in the chat, but I'm not sure if you saw it. What's your video setup for doing lives and whatever? Because you have really good light on you. Your voice sounds good. The camera's not in a weird spot. Like, I never have a good place to like look and look normal.
This is okay. Ready? So
Yes.
my mic is really great. It's a podcast. It's called RODE Podcaster. But I must have it like, I don't know. I think my kids played with it because it's not on the stand right. But it's a great mic. It's like $200. But I am doing a podcast, so I got that mic. But you guys, you're going to see my mess, all right? So I have my computer sitting on an Xbox to raise it up to a better height. All right, so it's a kid's old Xbox. And then I've got a ring light. There's kids' play toys. And then I've got a ring light. And look, see, I have notes stuck up there from the last time I did a live video. I literally stick my notes in like the ring light so I can kind of, yeah. But yeah, it's not fancy. So I do it on my computer. My lives, sometimes I'll do from my phone too. But I put it in the holder on my ring light. And that ring light's from Amazon. It's cheap. It's like $25 or something, maybe 40. I can't remember. I have 2 ring lights, but one just has a longer cord. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. Does that cover it? I use my AirPods, but I left my AirPods somewhere, and my friend has them. I don't know if you know Julie Park. You know her?
Name sounds super familiar.
She was under Gabe. Direct to Gabe and RF. Anyway, I was at an event with her, and I actually somehow they wound up in her purse. She said, I tried to turn on these, I thought they were mine, and it said Wendy's AirPods. I'm like, oh, can you send those to me, please? But I don't have them yet. But I do try and use those if I do from my phone alive, because it does help. Yeah, I got old food here and everything else. Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, and if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me or pop into Credo Collective and ask your questions there. And it was great to get to meet you guys.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Good night, guys.
Good to see you, Sarah. Bye.